What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got round 6 of the Vault Tour from Eindhoven in the Netherlands. I've already shown you rounds 4 and 5, links to those in the description. This was the final round from day 2. Day 1 there was no stream, unfortunately. So sit back, grab yourselves a nice cold beverage, and enjoy another lovely game of Keyforge. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with, I believe, round 6 of the Vault Tour from Eindhoven. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I've requested that we get a couple of players who are 4-1. I know, right? That means that both of these players have a very simple thing. If they win, they make it to tomorrow and get to keep playing. If they lose, they're done. Their tournament is over. Now, yesterday, you could have gone 5-1, and that would have got them into Top Cut tomorrow. Today, they can go 5-1, and that will get them into Top Cut tomorrow. The thing is, this is the second day where you can qualify for the second day, really third day. And frankly, either you do it here, or you don't. Win and you're in, lose and you're out. That's about as exciting as it gets. And now is that logo Sanctum Dis on the right hand side? It's quite difficult to see from here. If I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's quite difficult to see from here. Now, of course, at the beginning of a tournament, you do get an opportunity to have a look at your opponent's character card, or Archon card, for a couple of minutes. You get to see what they're playing with, what their deck is, what they do, etc. So you swap it over here and have a look. One of the things I really like about this, in theory, is that it rewards your knowledge of the cards. Of course, as we see from Aryan on the right here, you can just scan it in and have a look at it that way. But hey-ho, ladies and gentlemen. Hey-ho. So, this is the bit where I try and find deck lists, and ooh! Serene only turns up in 31 decks. So I might even be able to find this one moderately quickly, he says, failing to find it. Oh, this is the worst bit about casting this event, ladies and gentlemen. The worst bit about casting this event is trying to find the deck list. Right, I have found Reen's, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, my apologies. I found Reen's deck. It is Logos, Shadows, Untamed. He's got library access, he's got bait and switch, he's got 2 copies of Full Moon. Yeah, we saw some fairly ridiculous Full Moon earlier on. And he's got a Snufflegator, which I think we can all agree is the most important thing. Now, if I search for Amalocks looking for the dude on the right, I think we're going to find it fairly quickly. Incidentally, if you are... Oh, here we go. That was easy. So, yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, just make sure you have a look in the comment section, or in the comments and description, where you can find both deck lists. So we have a look at Aryan's list. There is indeed, it's Dis Logo Sanctum. There's no Shadow. There's 3 of those Raiding Knight. There's an Armageddon Cloak, which lets you kind of save a creature. There is library access in Logos, as well as 1 Phase Shift, 1 Wild Wormhole. And Dis does have Ember Imp, and it does have Succubus. So let's just say that, yeah, he's going to be doing some little disruption here. So, what are we looking at? Now, remember, the player who goes first can only play 1 card on their first turn, and then you rock from there. But they do get to, well, it doesn't matter. Right, so, Aryan and Renee, let's go Reen. Mr. Rocket Beam's hat. Might not be the best way to refer to him. So, if I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that we could have a lot of cards being drawn. They're both playing Logos, they're both playing library access. That's the only real thing. We've actually got 5 different houses being represented here. We got Shadows and Untamed on the right, on the left, sorry, and we've got Sanctum and Dis on the left? No. Sanctum and Dis on the right, Shadows and Untamed on the left. There we go. So, we've looked at the decks. We've had a quick chat about them. We are setting up here. I mean, this Untamed looks really good. This is on Rain's side of the field. We've got an Nepenthe Seed, which lets you grab a card from your discard pile whenever you want, because it's an artifact with an Omni ability. Sits there and you can use it as you like. And we do get a card played on turn 1. It is a Logos creature. And I'm not 100% sure which one it is. Looks like it might be a Novo Archaeologist. Archive a card from your discard pile. I believe that's what we see. Now we see a Raiding Knight come down here from Aryan. Of course, he can't actually capture anything now, unfortunately. He does play a Sanctum card, which gives him an Ember bonus. Which is quite nice. Always nice to get that Ember bonus. It was a Terms of Redress. Choose a friendly creature to capture 2 Ember. Irrelevant, because there was no Ember to be captured. And then we see... Ooh, is that Armageddon Cloak, or is it Protect the Weak? It is almost impossible to tell from here. I'm going Armageddon Cloak. If that creature gets destroyed, you get it back again. Ooh! Here's a fun one coming down. So we've got an Untamed turn, and we see a Dusk Pixie, which gets you 2 Ember. Fun fact, Ren's actually playing 3 Dust Pixie in his deck, each of which gets you a double Ember bonus. Then he plays a Way of the Bear, gets you another Ember, and the creature gains Assault 2. Before you attack, deal 2 damage to the attacked enemy. I love the Ember and I love getting it out your hand. I don't like its chances. It's a 1-power creature that doesn't have elusive. Let's say it's not likely to be staying on the field for very long at all. Oh, seriously though, 3 Dust Pixie in one deck. That's pretty good. And I am seeing this, the more competitive Keyforge I see. Oh, wow. So he's actually got both of the upgrades on the same one. So let's Protect the Weak. You get +1 armor and taunt. That's pretty good going. That's a beastly creature now. Although, yes. So here, because it's got the armor, it can actually take out the Dust Pixie. And that's what I was saying a minute ago. The chances of that Dust Pixie actually staying around for long enough to do anything, extremely slim, ladies and gentlemen. Extremely slim. Alrighty then. So, where are we going? So it looks like it's over to Reen's turn now. It's weird. Both players have had a fairly slow start, but they've both just been playing... I mean, pretty much all their Ember has just come from Ember bonuses here. They just keep playing cards that have Ember bonuses, although he did, I believe... Yeah, it was just a bunch of Ember bonus, really. Now, we do get... Oh, we get Stealing Ember with the Ember bonus here from Reen, and then there's a Relentless Whispers. Deal 2 damage to a creature. If it destroys that creature, steal 1 Ember, which it does. So, all of a sudden, he's up to 6 Ember. Now, I like this. This is Silvertooth. Silvertooth comes into play ready. Very weak 2-power creature, but you just bring it in, reap with it. Worst case scenario, it gets destroyed next turn. And all of a sudden, Reen's got a terrible board state with almost nothing on the field, and weirdly one of his creatures being upside down, and he's got 7 Ember. So we see a Logos turn here. We see a couple of creatures coming down. Now, we do see one of them coming along and capturing, which is quite nice. Probably means it's a Dextra, because that's what Dextra does when it comes into play. Captures an Ember. Does he have anything else? Any actions? Any artifacts? Anything else that he can do? Oh, he has a Skippy Time Hog. Your opponent cannot use any cards next turn. Now, they can play cards, and they can discard cards, but those 2 creatures on the board cannot be used. He can play as many cards as he likes from his hand, but he cannot use any cards. Oh, and then we see him coming down, capturing 3 Ember. That's not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. That's not too bad at all. Now, I believe that was a phase shift, because, I mean, that's clearly a disc creature, right? And it was a phase shift into a charrette. So phase shift lets you play a card that is not of your house. And then charrette, when you play it, it captures 3 Ember. And that's huge. Aryan's managed to capture 4 Ember this turn, which means that Reen's gone from, hey, I've got 7 Ember I can forge next turn, to I've got 3 Ember, I am halfway to forging. That's not the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. That is not the same thing at all. Hey-ho. This is a fun little back and forth game. And I love what Reen's doing here. I mean, Aryan's got the better of it now, but he's managed to do quite well with a very poor board position. The problem is he's currently under this Skippy Time Hog lock. And that's a problem, because it means that he's not actually able to do very much. So we see a couple of Dextras coming down, both of which are capturing an Ember. Because remember, he can play cards, but Skippy Timehog says he can't use them. Oh, I see a Dust Pixie and a Regrowth in his hand. Oh, but then there's no Untamed on the board. This is, I suppose, really what the house system comes down to in Keyforge. You end up in this, oh, I've got these really 2 good cards in my hand to play. Oh, but I don't have any good cards to use from that house. And it's a real back and forth, which I suppose is kind of the point of having the 3 houses. It's one of my favourite things about the Keyforge game. This idea that actually you don't get to do everything you want. Okay, so he keeps turning it upside down. Now, in Pokemon, that would be confusion. But we ain't playing no Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen. We ain't playing no Pokemon. Hey-ho. So, what can Aryan do here? Now, oh, we can play a Bat Drone down. Bat Drone, I mean, Bat Drone's well weak, right? But it's got Skirmish, and when you fight, you steal an Ember. So if it can survive long enough to fight, then you guarantee you survive the fight, and then you steal an Ember. It's a great one to have out. Now, we do see an attack here, taking down one of the creatures, which is quite nice. And it looks like we're just going to see some reaping here with a couple of those creatures. Just get yourselves a couple more Ember, which is quite nice. And that's the turn. So once again, Aryan's... No, he's not. He's not got enough Ember. He's down to 5. What he really wanted to do was try and take down Dextra, get that Ember back, because when a creature gets destroyed, the opposing... No matter how the Ember got on there, it is the opposing player who actually gets that Ember. So there are cards which allow you to essentially put some Ember on your opponent's cards so that you can then destroy them and get them yourselves, which is kind of fun. So he's not quite got enough to forge, and Reen's in a weird position here. If he can take down some of those creatures that have captured Ember, he can get that back and be quite well. He's still got a very bad board position. Can you exhaust a stunned creature? And unstunning exhaust? Essentially, yes. So when you got a stunned creature, you can't fight, you can't reap. Your choice is you just use it, and when you use it, like an action, it unstuns it. You don't get to do anything else. You use it and it gets unstunned, and then next turn, you can go ahead reaping or fighting with it. So, what's Reen going to do here? It looks like he's gone for Shadows. And he's playing a Lights Out. Return 2 enemy creatures to their owner's hand. This is what I was talking about. Now he gets to return those creatures to his opponent's hand. And he gets that Ember back now. Because that Ember basically is gone. Oh, and then he gets rid of that one as well. The one that's got all the upgrades on. Didn't want to get the Ember from Dextra. And as long as he can get a bit, he's all right. Now, we do see I think there's a bad penny coming down here, which doesn't really do much, but it'll be ready next turn. We see Silvertooth reaping to get another Ember. And Silvertooth's not a great character, right? Silvertooth plays a very important role in, yay, I can play it and it's not exhausted, so I can reap with it straight away. Reaping twice with the same Silvertooth, that's a pretty big advantage, ladies and gentlemen. That helps you out quite a bit. So, Where we to, ladies and gentlemen? Where we to? So, Reen here, he's got a better board position now, and he's got a lot of Ember. And he's now, I suppose, in the presumptive driving seat here. He's got as many creatures out as Aryan. There's no artifacts on the board. He's got more Ember, and it looks very much like he's going to be forging the first key. Unless something else happens, unless something comes along to change the makeup of this game, Reen is going to be the first person to actually go ahead and forge. That's kind of fun. So Aryan really wants to try and steal some Ember here. Though he's one of the few players here that's not playing Shadows. Ooh, 3 Raiding Knight in one go, each of which will capture an Ember. And I want to say he's down to 5. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I believe he's down to 5. And then he gets a Sequest down as well. When you reap, you capture an Ember. So he doesn't get it now, but he can in the future. And all of a sudden now, that wasn't enough. No, it wasn't 5. It was 6. He tried so hard. Aryan tried so hard. But he just couldn't get it rolling. Which is very, 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 very sad. Now, we do see a bait and switch there. Which gets free of Aryan's 5 Ember. Which is pretty nice. Pretty nice for him. And all of a sudden, even though he still hasn't got the board state, he hasn't really had the board lead at all this game. But it doesn't really seem to be mattering. He's just rolling. So Bad Penny then basically attacked. And then just got destroyed and went back down again. Not entirely sure why. Because Sequest has armor, so he didn't do any damage. And he could have reaped with Bad Penny and gained an Ember. So, not 100% sure what that was for. Because Bad Penny has no coming into play ability. It's no when it's destroyed, etc. So that's slightly perplexing to me, if I'm honest with you. Okay. So where are we then? What's he trying to do? What's he thinking about? What's going on, Reen? Oh, reaping. It's 3 reaps for the same Silvertooth. What he really wants is something like Hysteria. Now, he doesn't have Hysteria, incidentally. He's not playing this. But just something to just get rid of all of those. He's got 4 Ember. 1 on each of 4 different creatures on Aryan's side of the field. If you could get rid of all of those creatures and get all of that Ember back, that would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. But having said that, he's got double the amount of Ember Aryan's got, and he's not, and he's forged a key. Now, we just see, looks like a whole bunch of reaping going on. Looks like we're just reaping. Now, Bat Drone reaps. No, sorry, Bat Drone's fighting there. Looks like Bat Drone took out Bad Penny. No, it didn't. It took out Silvertooth. And when you fight, you steal an Ember, so that's kind of cool. Bat Drone took it down. And, of course, it's got Skirmish, so it doesn't take any back. So a nice amount of Ember there. But then again, he's playing against a Shadows deck. And he's got 6 Ember. And generally speaking, a Shadows deck is going to be able to do something about that. So, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so what he's doing with the Novo Archaeologist, he's turning it upside down to show that, I think he's using an action, archiving a card from his discard pile. I think that's what he's doing. You don't need to, you can just exhaust it in the usual way. But hey-ho. So, we're seeing some fighting coming down here, taking a little bit of damage. But takes out the Bat Drone, which is quite important. Puts down his own Bat Drone. Bat Drone for the win, ladies and gentlemen. Bat Drone for the win. Upside down is stunned, apparently. So he's just unstunning it. That makes sense, I suppose. But that's why we have stun counters. You're not supposed to turn upside down for stun. It's very confusing to the poor man who's hundreds of miles away trying to commentate this game. Doesn't make it easy. So, Aryan here, he's got a lot of creatures on the board. He's got a lot of creatures on the board. But he still hasn't forged any keys. Having said that, Reen doesn't have very much Ember at the moment. And Aryan now does have enough Ember to forge a key next turn, which is nice. And is he just more Reaping? Reaping generally is great. The problem is he knows his opponent plays bait and switch. Now, he also knows bait and switch has been played. So, but then again, you've got something like Nepenthe Seed that could come out in the near future. But then it would come out exhausted. You've got to be careful against bait and switch because he's got 8 Ember. That can be a pain. Now, there is a too much to protect. What timing was that? That's too much to protect. Oh, I'm a little proud of myself for that one. So he plays too much protect, you steal all but 6 of your opponent's Ember, and now you've got a Shadow's turn. And you need to take a single Ember away from your opponent. Maybe he drops an Urchin, which steals an Ember. Maybe he plays one of his free Nerve Blast to steal an Ember. Now, he actually plays a Nexus when you reap use an opponent's artifact as if it were your own. Oh, he wasn't able to do it. Oh, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. Because the other thing is, Reen is not forging a key next turn. Let's be clear about this. There is no key being forged by Reen next turn. And Aryan has just gone and forged himself a key. So that means that Reen is no longer really in the driver's seat. Oh, if he just had a card. If he just one copy of Hysteria or something. Just to get them all off. Just to get all of these out. Now, he does have Save the Pack, which destroys each undamaged creature and gains a chain. If he could get that next turn, he'd get 3 of his Ember back. 4 of his Ember back now, because Sequist just did a bit of the old Reaping. Which, of course, captures an Ember. So, again, you can't just choose which cards you have. But, oh, man, if he could get Save the Pack next turn, that would be sick. That'd be such a good card. He does have a Dust Fairy. You know, wait, has he got Save the... Has he actually... I think he's literally got it in hand. He has! He's got Save the Pack! Oh, it's each damaged creature, sorry, not undamaged. I misread that for a second. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. It is destroy each damaged creature, but even so, he still gets some Ember back. He still takes a bunch of creatures out. And for the second turn in a row, I've called the card. This doesn't usually happen, because you don't get to choose. Oh. Apparently, it is not Reen, it's Renee. So let's go for Renee. It's a German name. Again, this is one of the difficulties of being... Oh, there comes... So we got Witch of the Eye coming down. Not good now, but will be in the future. We've got Dust Pixie and a Regrowth, which gets an Ember and then gets a creature from your discard pile into your hand. I mean, you've got to be thinking Dust Pixie here, I would imagine. Yeah. Just get another Dust Pixie and get another couple of Ember. Again, I wasn't 100% sure on what's in his discard, but that to me would seem like the obvious one. Because his opponent doesn't have bait and switch. And doesn't have too much to protect. And there's a Logos card, Effervescent Principle. He doesn't have that either. So he's got none of those. And that's the thing. When you're playing a deck that doesn't have any of those cards... And you're bearing in mind, right, you get to look at your opponent's character cards, so you know this. When your opponent isn't playing any of those cards, you can just go nuts, getting as much Ember as you like. Effervescent Principle, each player loses half their Ember rounding down and you gain a chain. Frankly, this is awesome. Ooh, that's a little bit tricksy, ladies and gentlemen. We see... No, he's actually playing a... No, he's not playing a bunch of these. Wait, no, he is. It's Fear. He's playing 3 of them. Return an enemy creature to its owner's hand. Pretty sure Renee would like for Dust Pixie to have been chosen. Let's say it was never going to be Dust Pixie. As sad as that might be. Boo, hiss, etc. It seems like... Which one was it? I had it a second ago. Novo Archaeologist. Hey-ho. Oh, I mean, Renee here, it really does look like he's in charge here. It really does look like he had a very slow start to the game and just didn't have ball position for turn after turn, but those Dust Pixie, man. I mean, I love looking at Keyforge deck lists. It's one of my favourite pastimes. And when I see free Dust Pixie, free Full Moon, that's crazy. Now, what is kind of upsetting, he's only actually got 6 untamed creatures with his 2 Full Moon. But, I mean, playing a Dust Pixie, getting free Ember, that's virtuous works in a creature. So, Aryan here, it looks like he's ending his turn again without being able to forge, which is a little bit sad. Now, he did manage to use, I believe that was an Arise that he used. Gain him a chain and returned each creature from a particular house into his hand. I believe that's what he did. I think that's the only discard he's actually using, which will gain him a chain. But he's not forging. And his opponent's just forged a second key. And then we see Research Smoko coming down. Research Smoko's got a fun little thing. When it's destroyed, you archive the top card of your deck. We then see another creature coming down here. I believe that's... Oh, there's a bunch coming down very, very quickly. Oh, and they're all capturing Ember. So, you know, the ones capturing Ember are clearly Dextra. I can't see those cards. They're off screen. Although he drew a card. Doc Buckton draws a card when you reap. Now, has he played... No, he has. He's played Library Access this turn, which is why he's having such a ridiculous turn. Library Access says that for every other card you play this turn, you draw a card. There we go. So he did play a Doc Buckton, incidentally, but of course, he drew because of Library Access. So that's a lot of creatures. And he's in a good position, because, right, he ain't forging a key next turn. He's just not forging a key next turn. But what he's done is essentially, now he's just pointing out, hang on a second, I've got Succubus on the field. Succubus says you draw 1 fewer card during your draw cards phase, so they've got to work this out now. Renee should have drawn until he's got 5 cards in hand. He's actually drawn until he's got 6. Because Succubus stops you drawing an extra one. So we need something worked out here. Now, in most card games, what you would do is take a random card and put it on top of your opponent's deck after essentially sharing the information to stop the unfair advantage. Now, it doesn't seem like he's put a card back yet. Huh. Oh, has he got Mother on the field? I cannot see the creatures perfectly, but if he's got a Mother on the field... No, he did not draw. The judge... I'm finally in contact with somebody in the venue, and they're telling me that it was resolved by the judge sitting there. He didn't draw an extra card, so one of those creatures there must be Mother, which he does have, which lets him draw an extra card, and essentially Mother and Succubus, they even each other out. So we're seeing fighting here. We are just seeing fighting going on. Aryan is trying to get rid of the cards. Because as I was saying a moment ago, Renee's basically playing kind of a free turn thing. First turn, set out all your creatures. Second turn, go nuts, reaping, etc. Third turn, forge your final key, you're rolling, you win. And because Aryan only had 1 key and wasn't about to forge, that was a strategy. So what Aryan's doing here is basically going, right, my job this turn is to try and take away your nut setup. Because he doesn't have enough to forge. And that's the other problem. This is one of the great things about Keyforge. You can reap, you can fight, you can action. There's a bunch of things. But if you focus too much on taking out your opponent's setup, you may not get your setup. So now it looks like we're back into Renee's turn. Oh, Full Moon comes down. So Dust Pixie will actually get him free Ember. 2 for playing it, and then 1 because Full Moon gets you an Ember. And then we see another creature come down. There's another Ember. Another creature, I think that might even be Snufflegator. Another Ember. Another creature comes down. Another Ember. Or was that a Dust Pixie that got more? I have no idea. And now, and this is what we were saying, this was the go nuts turn. So, he's got 6 Ember. What can Aryan do? Can Aryan take away any of his Ember? Most players here seem to be playing Shadows, and I think the number one reason why, it was a Witch of the Eye that came down. Thank you very much. So, it seems like most players in the tournament are playing Shadows. And one of the reasons you play Shadows is so that if your opponent's about to forge a key, you can stop them. But that's not an option here. So, what do we have? What do we have? Seems like there's a discard coming from the hand. I've missed the card that he's actually playing, unfortunately. So it looks like he's going this. So, can he steal any Ember? That's the key here. Can he steal any Ember here? Because if he can't, it's over. And that's a problem. So, now he's got a Raiding Knight there, and I think that's stolen the 1 Ember that he need. No, he's fighting with it. Where is he? He's on a Sanctum turn, and he's just trying to figure out what he can do. There's a Sequest that reaps and steals an Ember, so that's going to help a lot. And he's just stopped the forging. So now Raiding Knight is attacking, and then you get the Ember back because it was captured. And now Aryan's putting himself in a decent position. Now Renee is still in the driver's seat. Renee is very much in the driver's seat here. But he's not won it yet. He's not forging next turn. Aryan has done just enough. Now the question is, can he get himself up to 6 Ember? I think he might already have 6. Yes, he does. He already has 6. Can he get 1 or 2 more? Give himself a little bit of a safety cushion. Now he knows too much to protect has come down. And he knows that Bait and Switch has come down. And he knows that Nepenthe Seed is not on the field at the moment. So, in theory, there shouldn't be any way that Renee can do a ridiculous Ember stealing turn. But he may still be able to do a little bit. He might be able to drop a Nerve Blast to steal an Ember. He might be able to drop an Urchin to steal an Ember. Big Twig is the other one we missed earlier. Can only fight stunned creatures, and when you reap, you stun and exhaust a creature. That's Big Twig. Second from the right, as Renee's looking at it. That's the one we missed earlier. So, there's no forging here. Renee here, basically, what would be amazing is just taking out some of those creatures. I don't think he even really needs to kind of reap anymore. What Renee needs to do this turn is extremely simple. He needs to get enough Ember so that next turn he just wins the game. Because he knows that his opponent isn't playing any of these ridiculous, I've stolen all of your Ember cards. No Effervescent Principle, no Bait and Switch, no Too Much to Protect. But you've got to have enough Ember to stop that happening. He knows there's stuff like Sequest who can capture an Ember. If he could take down a couple of those creatures, even if he sacrificed a bunch of his own creatures to do so, if he could, take down the Charette and take down the Sequest and get kind of 6 Ember back, I think he'd probably win at that stage. I think that would probably give him the win. He only needs to forge 1 more key, so he just needs to get himself in a position where he's got so much Ember his opponent can't stop him. And that's the biggest thing in this matchup as far as I can see it from Renee. There are none of those ridiculous, now you've got no Ember cards. I mean, he hasn't even got to burn the stockpile because he's not playing Brobnar. So I think, and it's difficult because his creatures are very low power, and certainly Big Twig can't fight anyone. But you've got to think that there's an option there. I mean, he could go Untamed and maybe Reap with Witch of the Eye, and then get himself a Dust Pixie back and play that down. Now he's gone Shadows. And it looks like he's going Imperial Traitor. You get an Ember bonus. Look at your opponent's hand. You may choose and purge a Sanctum card in it. So that's kind of cool. That's very cool. So now we see a Reap with Nexus, which is kind of sad, right? Because Nexus lets you use one of your opponent's artifacts. But his opponent doesn't have an artifact. Oh, he's fighting. This is what I would have done in his situation. And it's risky as you like. But I would just be fighting. I'd just be fighting with everyone I could, even if my creatures went down. Use Bad Penny to do 1 damage, as long as they don't have armor, in which case that would be a very bad thing. Now we see an Urchin coming down, which should be stealing an Ember. Yes! I think this is Renee winning it now, ladies and gentlemen. Now Bad Penny reaps and he gets another Ember. Slow start to the turn, but he is rolling. And Aryan doesn't have those cards. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13? 11? There's 12 or 13 Ember there. Aryan would need like a bait and switch and an Urchin or something like that. And again, he's not playing Shadows. He would need an Effervescent Principle and another card that could get rid of it. I think Renee has just stamped his ticket into the top cut, ladies and gentlemen. I think he stamped his ticket into the top cut. So he plays a Wild Wormhole, which allows him to play a Fear. But it's not enough, ladies and gentlemen. And Renee is going to go into day 2. That was a crazy last turn. Aryan, condolences, sir, because I know how heartbreaking it is to lose your winning in. I've been there. It sucks. But congratulations to Renee. That was a great game he played there. And look, when you've got 3 Dust Pixies and a couple of Full Moon, that's a pretty good Untamed sweep. Shadows, he's got a lot of damage coming out with stuff like Nerve Blast. Logos, he's got the draw engine with stuff like Library Access and Mother and Doc Buxton and all of that. And I think at the end, Aryan was just undone by the fact that he didn't have any of those ridiculous now you don't have any Ember cards. But congratulations to both players for doing as well as they did. I mean, even if you end 4-2, 4-2 in this tournament is not bad. When you see the kind of decks people are rocking up with, that's pretty impressive. Good work, guys. I hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, they are the ones we have from day 1. Day 2. Day 1's already happened. That was day 2. Day 3 is tomorrow. That's the finals. And you know what? We're going to be live about 9 AM UK time. Google it, you'll find your time zone. For now, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter @TheWossy, and get some discussion going in the comment section. And then come back tomorrow, and we'll have a lot of fun. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.